of solutions for which fulfills the values of x that fulfills the following inequality: x bracket x minus 5 greater than equals to 0. Okay, so if you remember that in class we always talk about the following steps to solving a quadratic inequality. Now first, you have to check that you always make the right hand side 0. So the right hand side should be 0 as a good habit. It doesn't mean that if you do not make it 0, you cannot solve, but it's all good habits to have. And the second step that you want to do is to try to make the coefficient of x squared to be positive. Okay, so if it's not positive, for example, you are dealing with a negative x squared in your term, what you want to do is to make multiply the whole expression both sides by -1 or divide by -1 in order to get your x squared term to be positive. Of course, this will mean that you will be flipping the inequality sign. Okay, now the third, right, is in order for you to solve the inequality, it's as though you need to solve it like as though you're solving an equation, which will involve you most of the time, the first idea that comes to your mind, it should be doing a factorization. Okay, so it'll be factorization. You need to factorize the quadratic inequality. As you can see in this question here, x multiplied by x minus 5, it fulfills the following conditions. Now the right hand side is 0. The coefficient of x squared here is x positive 1. And also is already in the factorized form. You can see that it's x multiplied by x minus 5. Okay, so step number 4 is what you must do is to remember that, okay, if you do not factorize, the step number 4 you must do is always to sketch the curve. Okay, now step number 4 is the most important step. Now you must remember to sketch the curve. Okay, so since you know that basically you are sketching the curve, right, the coefficient x squared is positive, you will be looking at a smiley face. All right, and the fact that if you treat as though you are solving an equation, if you have x minus 5, you pretend that this is equals to 0, right, it will means that your x-intercepts basically is x equals to 0 and x equals to 5. Okay, because you're basically, you know, like this is your y, right? You are sketching the graph of y equals to x bracket x minus 5, and the points here, the x-axis, these are the point where your y is equals to 0. Okay, because on the x-axis your y value is equals to 0. Okay, so you will know that on the x-axis, right, these are the points, the x-intercepts basically are also the solution to x bracket x minus 5 equals to 0. So then large, we key writing 0 and 5 since they are our x-intercepts. Intercepts meaning they intercept the x-axis. And from here, right, you can see that if you are looking at the portion where x minus 5 is greater than or equals 0, it's as though when you sketch y equals to x minus 5, at the same time you're also looking at where is greater than or equals to 0. You are looking at the portion or the region of x for which is your y is positive, okay, more than or equals 0. It's positive or equals to 0. So where's the region that we are looking at? Now if you observe this portion over here, right, this is the region with all the positive y values or equals to 0. And what we want to extract is the corresponding x values that give you this region, right? So these are the region where so-called your y is greater than or equals to 0, right? And what we want to do is to produce the answer, and the answer involves you writing the corresponding x values that gives you this inequality. So you can see that all the x values here that will give you y to be greater than or equals to 0 are basically x less than or equals to 0. And on the right side, all the x values here that gives you y more than or equals to 0 is x more than or equals to 5. So the ones in green are actually the ones that you produce as your answer. Okay, so the final answer is x less than or equals to 0 or x more than or equals to 5. Okay, so well, it is not an and. Take note that this is a or. When you have two sets of solution, two so-called non-intersecting sets, right? It means that your answer can either lie in one of them, not both. Your answer cannot be lying in both of them, because if you are saying that x less than 0 and x more than 5, right, this is basically an empty set, right? You cannot find an x value that lies in less than 0 or more than 5.